Okay, now we're going to multiply polynomials. These are just some vocabulary words that I want you guys to understand. Not because I'm going to test you over them, but because I'm going to use them and I want you to know what I'm saying. A monomial is one term. Those are all considered one term. Now they may have 3 or 4 pieces inside of them, a lot like this one. This means negative 4 times x times y squared, but that is still a monomial. Simply just a number is a monomial. A binomial is 2 monomials put together but separated by either a plus or a minus. These are just some examples of binomials. Trinomials, again, 3 monomials put together with pluses or minuses. Okay, so now we're going to get into our rules. And so right now we're going to call this one rule number 1. Alright, rule number 1 says that if you have the same base and you are multiplying, that you add your exponents together. So an example of this would be, let's say 3 squared times 3 to the 4th power. Do not multiply your bases together. Keep your base the same, but add your exponents together. So you would have 3 to the 6th power. Okay? Alright, so now what if you have something that looks like this? Oops, I don't mean plus there, sorry. Okay, those do not have like bases, so there's really nothing else you could do to them except maybe put that into the calculator and simplify. But you cannot simplify this and say 4 times 5 is 20 and then add your exponents together. That's bad, don't do that. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So, here's what you do. Whenever you multiply, we're still going to multiply the 3 times the 2. That hasn't changed, so we're going to get 6 there. But notice now, whenever we multiply a squared and a to the 3rd power, we have the same base, and you add those exponents together. And look at your b's now. So then you've got b to the 1st power and b squared. You're going to combine your b's, so I put one b down, but I'm going to add my exponents, and this is my final answer. Alright, so now in this one we're going to distribute. So I'm going to multiply 2x times 3x and then 2x times 5. 2x times 3x, I multiply the 2 and the 3 and I get 6. Remember, this is x to the 1st and this is x to the 1st, so I get x squared. Now I'm going to multiply 2x times 5 and I get 10x, but you can't just put a space there. You have to put something. Monomials are separated by pluses and minuses, so if that's a positive 10x, you're going to put a plus right there. And then these guys are not like terms, so you can't combine them. Don't do it. Alright, let's look at the next one. So I'm going to multiply negative 4t times 8t squared and negative 4t times 3t. So negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. T to the 1st power times t squared is t to the 3rd power. Now I've got negative 4 times a positive 3 gives me a negative 12. And t to the 1st times t to the 1st is t squared. Can't combine those because they're not like terms. They don't have the same exponents. So that is as simplified as it gets. So now let's look at this last one. I'm going to multiply 3xy times each one of these terms. So 3 times 2 is 6. X times x squared is x to the 3rd power. Then I've got y. That's it for the first term. Now I'm going to multiply 3xy times negative 4xy, and I get negative 12. X squared, y squared. Then I'm going to multiply 3xy times y squared, and I get plus 3xy cubed. And those are not like terms, so this is simplified. Doesn't look like it, but it is. Okay, so this page is just telling you that whenever you multiply two polynomials together, you just distribute a whole bunch of times. And if you've ever taken an algebra class, then you've probably heard of the term FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. I don't usually teach FOIL in my class only because it only works whenever you multiply two binomials together. So I prefer that you look at it in terms of distribution. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to take this x plus 3 and I'm going to multiply. Notice how in between these two parentheses there's not a plus, there's not a minus. That means that we're multiplying these together. So I want to take my x and I'm going to distribute it to each term inside the next set of parentheses. Then I'm going to take my 3 and I'm going to distribute it to every term inside the next set of parentheses. So let's go ahead and do this. So I've got x times x, which is x squared, x times 5, which is positive 5x, that's why I put a plus there. Now I'm going to do 3 times x, which is 3x, and then 3 times 5, which is 15. Now I do have some like terms here. This and this are like terms. So I've got to simplify that. So I've got x squared plus 8x plus 15. And that's it. Okay, so let's do the next one. So I've got 3x times 2x, 3x times negative 5y, 4y times 2x, and 4y times negative 5y. So now 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times negative 5y is negative 15xy. Now I'm going to multiply 4y times 2x, and I get 8. And you could write it as yx, but typically we put these in alphabetical order, so I'm going to write it as 8xy. And then I've got 4y times negative 5y, which is negative 20y squared. And our like terms happen to be right there next to each other in the middle. So I have 6x squared minus 7xy minus 20y squared. And none of those are like terms, so I can't combine them. Okay, these two examples are the reason why I don't like to show FOIL, because you don't always have a binomial times a binomial. In this case, we have a binomial times a trinomial. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to take this 3a and I'm going to distribute it to each term inside the next set of parentheses. Then I'm going to take negative 2 and I'm going to distribute that as well. So first thing I do, 3a times a squared gives me 3a cubed. 3a times 4a gives me plus 12a squared. 3a times 5 gives me plus 15a. Now I'm done with the 3a. I'm going to go to the negative 2 now. Negative 2 times a squared gives me a negative 2a squared. Negative 2 times 4a gives me negative 8a. And then negative 2 times a positive 5 gives me a negative 10. Now I need to combine my like terms. So I have like terms here and here. And then I also have some like terms here and here. So I'm going to combine my like terms and then I'll be done. So I've got 3a cubed. I use that up. The 12a squared and a negative 2a squared gives me a positive 10a squared. I use those two up. 15a minus 8a gives me a positive 7a, and I'm just left with a minus 10 at the end. So there we go. There's that answer. Alright, let's go on to the next one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply x squared times 5x squared, and I get 5x to the 4th power. Now I'm going to do x squared times negative 2x, and I get negative 2x cubed. And then I've got x squared times 4, which is a positive 4x squared. Then I'm going to do 3 times 5x squared, and I get positive 15x squared. 3 times negative 2x gives me a negative 6x. And 3 times 4 gives me 12. My like terms are just here and here. That's it. Those are my only like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and add these together. I get 5x to the 4th minus 2x cubed plus 19x squared minus 6x plus 12. Oof, that's a long one, but it's done. Okay, that's it for this lesson. Send me a message if you have any problems.